This is McKenna Collins, host of Table Talk. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Daniel Poppy, host of How to Write Good here on Public House Media. I just want to thank you for listening to the following broadcast brought to you by Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope that you'll come check out my show, How to Write Good, the writing show that is not about writing. A new show of How to Write Good comes out every Wednesday, so don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of How to Write Good. Again, thanks for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Hey, everyone! Thank you for tuning in today to listen to Rewritten. I am so grateful. I know, I say that every single week, but I have to tell you, my gratitude towards you listening, my gratitude towards you sending me messages about how the episode you listened to affected your life, it means the world to me because I know that this is for something. And this would not exist if it were not for you and for Public House Media. I have so much gratitude. I am so grateful. The vision for Rewritten is just building and building, and I'm really excited to see what happens in the future. I got a message, and I need to share it with you. I got a message from a listener, and I get a lot of messages from you. And this one really tugged at my heart. This listener had told me that she has a story that she has not told very much. Something that has haunted her in her past. A story that is around abuse. Someone taking advantage. Someone treating her in such a way that no human should be treated. And she just said, Julianne, I listened to your episode about blaming your past for the good, and I have to be honest, it's so hard for me to find a way to blame my situation for the good. Valid. That is so valid. It is so hard when we've been wronged, when bad things have happened to us, to be able to find the lesson, the growth, and the good from it. A couple of months ago, I went to Rachel Hollis's Rise down in LA, and we did this activity to open up, and I want you to do it with me right now. And in fact, as soon as this episode is done, I want you to send me a message. I want you to send me a message about what stuck out to you in this. So this is what we did. We had a piece of paper. We checked off the things that have happened in our lives, and then I'm going to tell you what we did with it after. So I'm going to read through this list, and as I read through this list, I want you to say yes or no, depending on what the statement is. I have suffered from depression. I have suffered from anxiety. I have abused my relationship with food to control my weight. I have had sex with someone I didn't love as a way to feel loved. I have been sexually abused. I have been physically abused. I have been verbally or emotionally abused. I have intentionally cut or harmed myself. I have considered suicide. I have been raped. I have lost a child. I have lost a parent. I have lost a partner. I have been cheated on by a partner. I have battled or am battling infertility. I have had a miscarriage. I have abused alcohol as a way to cope. I have used porn as a way to cope. I have abused prescription pills as a way to cope. I have abused food as a way to cope. I hate the way I look. I have kept these issues and struggles to myself. I have lied about these issues and struggles because I was afraid of being judged. I have felt or feel alone because of these issues. So what we did is we marked them off. And then we crumbled them up and we passed them around to a room of maybe 800. And then we got another piece of paper. And as I opened up that piece of paper, I got to stand up for my sister, whoever she is. I don't know who she is, but the things that she marked off, I had to stand for her. And I have to tell you, there were things that she marked off that I have never experienced in my life. But when I stood up for her, I was in her shoes. And it was harder to stand for her than it was going through my own pain. When I had to stand for her being raped, when I had to stand for her who lost a partner, when I had to stand for her because she had abused prescription pills as a way to cope, it was so difficult. My heart yearned for her. And as we did this activity, we only stood for our sister, for whatever she marked. And there was not a single line, a single person who did not stand for at least one thing. Most of the room stood for the statement, I have felt or feel alone because of these issues, and I have lied about these issues and struggles because I was so afraid of being judged. More than 3/4 of the room stood for that. And they were standing for someone else, but maybe themselves. I was listening to Super Soul Sunday by Oprah. She was interviewing Brené Brown, and Brené Brown has amazing books, 3 top bestsellers actually. And they were talking about forgiveness. In order for forgiveness to happen, something has to die. And forgiveness is from grief. We are grieving something, and that's when we need to forgive. When we forgive, something dies. So when that listener reached out to me and told me what had happened to her, I mentored her and coached her through it. And she left me with, oh my gosh, I can massively love people for what I went through. Because I was treated so unfairly, I can respond back in so much love, in so much empathy. And maybe her story can be a way to stand in someone's shoes. And even though I haven't been through the trauma that she had been through, I had once stood for someone else who had gone through that. So I felt connected to this listener. And the fact that she would reach out to me and not lie about her issues and not lie about her struggles and be so hungry to be able to blame her past for all the good was such a powerful moment. That is the shift that maybe it doesn't heal her. Maybe she doesn't forget it ever, which I don't think you will with your trauma. It's a step. The fact that she reached out is a step. And she reached out to me, trusting me, and I am just so incredibly grateful for that. So for you listening right now in your life, the struggles you're facing, the struggles you have faced, what needs to die? What grief are you holding on to that is taking a stronghold of your life? And I think a step towards being able to forgive that situation or that person starts with you thinking through what it is that you're struggling with, what you have grieved before, and confiding in someone who doesn't necessarily give you a solution, but just listens to you processing your thoughts. And then you can create a new normal. So I know that we had talked about blaming your past, but since that listener had reached out to me, I thought, dang, when I listened to that Super Soul Sunday by Oprah and Brene Brown, I realized that so much of blaming our past for the good really starts with forgiveness. So for me, I've had to forgive a lot of people in my life, as well as ask for forgiveness. And when you do that, there has to be no expectation on the other end. Sometimes we have this picture in our head that, we're going to go forgive them and everything is going to go back to normal, or things are going to get better. And then maybe that person or situation, it doesn't turn out to be what you thought. And that could end you up leaving feeling defeated and depleted. You leave feeling more hurt, and so therefore you isolate and you create more walls. But I encourage you to lean in and not have that expectation with the forgiveness. Every time I've had to forgive, it was never really about that other person, whether they accepted it or not. It was the fact that I didn't have to hold on to that anymore. Everyone has the gift of forgiveness, but not everyone knows how to use it or even uses it. I think our ego and pride gets the best of us, but I don't think that serves anyone. I think holding on to grief and those struggles disservices us. So I encourage you today to think about, where are you grieving and where do you need to forgive? And that doesn't mean that person needs to be back in your life. In fact, I don't think so. I think it's in order for you to move on and move forward and move on with more grit and strength. That your past doesn't necessarily leave you 100%. That it teaches you how to be resilient. It gave you more armor. It allowed you to love harder. And a lot of times people say, no regrets. And Brene Brown was saying, regrets teach us how to be better. So maybe there was a situation that you regret, that you let your emotions get the best of you, and you're grieving on a lost relationship because you lost control. You freaked out on that person. You treated that person horribly. And I believe because you did that, that regret can teach you how to be more patient. It can teach you how to love harder in a tough conversation because of an experience that you didn't handle so well. So I want you to think about what it is that you need to do in order to forgive and let go of that grief. It's going to teach you. It's going to mold you. And as I told that listener who reached out to me, I said, you still have every right to feel angry and upset. But I love that you'll choose love over digging yourself in a hole. I love that you'll choose to be kind and choose to share your story and not be held back because of it. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for just being a part of this mission. And please share with a friend, share with me. And I am so excited to hear how this touched you today.